Changing landscape of the housing market in Las Vegas requires a real estate professional that understands how to get your offer accepted, willing to go above and beyond for service and accountability. Hi, my name is Dan French. I've been in the real estate and financing industry for over 13 years. Most real estate agents struggle with answering their phone. Please call me directly, 702-557-6176. I'm available for all your real estate needs.
Dan's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
What's going on, everybody? It's Dan French. This is a Saturday morning. You guys know what time it is. The French Workbench Podcast. We have a great show for you guys today. We're going to talk a lot about what's happening here in the housing market. As you guys know, the supply and the demand, right? Supply chain is starting to inch up here in Las Vegas, but is it really making a difference? And a lot of people still think that possible recession down the road, possible recession going into 2023. We're going to talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about the impact of mortgage applications and interest rates happening with interest rates above 5, staying above 5, and you're going to see a decline in mortgage applications for April by 14%. So let's get right into this show. We have a great show for you. I'm going to talk with Doug Liebig. Doug, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey, good morning, Dan. How are you doing?
Good, man. Good. So what's going on in your world, buddy?
Oh, just another week full of inspections.
Dude, that sounds exciting. Like, are you out just like hammering out inspections?
We're just it's staying busy. It's the market for me. In any market, people are going to be buying and selling houses. So regardless of whether you're a first-time home buyer, investor, you're buying a multi-mansion house or whatever.
Absolutely.
There's always somebody buying a house.
Yeah, I was going to talk. Let's kind of go over a few things here today that I want to bring up. So first off, I want to talk a little bit about what we're seeing in the markets, and also what I think is going to happen here with rates. Also, what's going to happen with homes and some of the challenges it takes to get into a house and get into an offer accepted. We're going to do a market update, a small market update at the end. But I want to talk a little bit. First off, I want to bring up a couple of past and present people that we worked with. I do want to bring up the Atlas Group. So if you guys are out there, I want to bring this up here. You guys looking for a property manager, please hit up the Atlas Group. They're really good. They know what they're doing. I've worked with many people from the Atlas Group. If you're a landlord out there looking for somebody to represent you, give them a call. Highly represent or present and recommend them. Also, I was out at the Filipino Festival, and I wanted to bring up something. These people were real nice to me, right, and my family. So I just want to say, if you guys have a chance, if you guys are looking for fun rental parties and things maybe to help out with some of these, some parties or something going on, jumpers. What was interesting, we had this right here. This was like a electronical bull, and people were checking that out, and I was like, man, is that an electronical bull on wheels?
Did you get on it?
No, I didn't get on it. I didn't get on it. But what was weird is I told him, I said, hey, you know what, man, you guys have been good, so I'm going to go ahead and bring this up. So you guys check them out. This is a Facebook right here, Facebook ad. Also, I want to bring up Doug. We don't bring up Doug a lot, but Doug is a home inspector. If you guys are looking for a quality home inspector, here is his website. I want you guys to take a look at that. Give Doug a call. You can go over his welcome, stanza here of professionalism, quality service. So, Doug, did you put that together yourself, man?
Actually, no, my kid did.
Your kid did?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's actually working as a software engineer now up in Salt Lake. But, I told him, I said I wanted my website to look good. So he says, I can do that for you, Dad. No big deal.
Yeah,
man. He put it together for me, and all the little drop-down menus on there. He made those all work.
So he did all this. How old is your kid, man?
He's 22.
22. So did he go to like school for journalism? What did he do?
No, he went to school for CIS. He went to UNLV.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, so all my kids are going to UNLV. So
yeah, UNLV is a good school. I hear a lot of good things about it. So going to UNLV is obviously it's expensive, right? It's gotten up.
No, well, yeah. Well, they had the Millennium Scholarship.
Yeah.
And so, I basically told them if they wanted to go to college that they'd have to pay for it themselves. So
100%.
yeah, I mean, if they're that's what they want to do. I mean, that's you make your own bed in life. So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, it's a challenge, man. It's a challenge. You know?
It's like the more you give them.
Yeah.
The more they expect. So when they start out in life, if they have to work for it, then they appreciate it a little bit more.
Some of the challenges I face going and coming in here, you work out. You worked out this morning. I mean, it's hard to get up sometimes. The hard part's just getting to the gym, right? I mean, it's like you got to get up and it's like, should I not? It's the weekend. Should I just hang out? You know what I mean? And then it's like you start thinking about other things you can do. And then, but you know what? You always end up there because you feel guilty, like you're missing school or something, right?
Well, yeah. And you just put one foot in front of the other every day. That's basically all it is. And then you'll get somewhere, right? Yeah. You ever heard the term of Liebig?
No. What is that? What is that, man?
It's packing 10 pounds of stuff in a 5-pound bag.
Really?
Yeah,
so
it's called a Liebig.
So like when you're on a normal workout day, like what happens with you? You wake up, you work 40, are you more of a fitness guy or you like because you see some guys in there, man, they're just like dedicated, and they got that slow robot walk, where it's like, hey, like they just, they're walking in to do some damage, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, no, that's not me.
That's not you?
I keep it going just so, all my stuff still works, so I can get on the roofs and get in the attics, and I don't like curl up into a ball when I'm trying to get it through a 120-degree attic. You know,
you're at a good workout place when you walk in and you smell food, like they just microwave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like a dinner. Dude, there's a lot of people that do that that eat delivery food, where they deliver food to people's houses and deliver food to like places for healthy food.
Yeah. Like Uber Eats or something?
Yeah, well, it's like that, but it's for the healthy version. They get like a little, like a car or like a van, like a small van.
Oh, yeah.
And they just go and they deliver food and it's just like on the fly, but it's healthy. And people will pay a premium. Man, I see some people making some good coin doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's definitely, I mean, the world we live in, there's a lot of toxins in our food. My wife and I have always been real healthy nutrition type people, and there's a lot of stuff out there that they put in food that you got to kind of read the labels.
You got to watch it.
Yeah, you got to watch it. But I think that's half the key to staying fit and staying healthy.
Everybody's got that goal, at the beginning of the year, and they're like, you know what? I'm going to hit it. And about end of January, beginning of February, people fall off.
Oh yeah.
And then you got the people that go in to work out, and they're like, I'm going to go work out today, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out, but then I'm going to eat some nachos because I earned it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, maybe not that bad, but it's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to get some chips and salsa. I'll throw, because look, man, it's hard to be that dedicated. It's hard to be consistent every single day, right? So,
it's and I try to hit it at least 3 or 4 times a week. I'll do I don't run as much anymore. I kind of screwed my knee up.
Yeah.
But I am walking, and it does seem to work, and so get the cardio going, and I'd like to get back running, but it's just getting that routine going every day, and then stuffing your Bolivia.
Well, let's get back into the housing market and talk a little bit. We'll also talk a little bit about what's going on in Las Vegas, but I want to bring up people out there worried. Supply demand, right? It's not rocket science here. You don't have supply, you're not going to have a ton of opportunity to buy a house. And I think a lot of people out there thinking that this is an overpriced market and they're just backing out altogether. Now, the odds coming from Las Vegas, as far as are we going to depreciate, are we going to decline in home appreciation or home value, is very low on CoreLogic's last reading. Did you read that?
Yeah.
So
like 20%, right?
Yeah. I was like, man, this thing is going to fall. Like, I think it's going to fall. We're going to go into a recession. As far as economically and housing, they kind of coincide, but they're still different. The housing sector is stating it's going to stay good. It's not going to be bad. It's not going to be double-digit gains, but you're not going to see a decline as much as we anticipated. California may be slightly higher on a percentage of declines. Right. I mean, what are your thoughts, man? Do you think that we're going to go into a somewhat of a decline here in a recession? Because it's not saying it's, that's end all, right?
Yeah. Well, It's like the last one. If we all had a crystal ball, then we would have come out millionaires, I think.
Absolutely.
But in the long term, there's going to be. I think we've got a lot of bubbles going on with
everything. Everything, man.
Just about everything.
Yeah, it's stock market. We just talked about.
Yeah, crypto, stock market,
everything, right?
I heard something the other day, and they said that if you overlay the Nasdaq charts with Bitcoin, it's doing the exact same thing. So there's bubbles going on, but. Like you said, the core logic report, I was talking to a realtor friend of mine this week, and he said that we had like a 20% chance of actually going into a recession or a downturn in this market. But the thing I've seen in this market is everybody's coming in cash. So that's investors,
man, and they're coming in. They're coming in crazy. Right? Go ahead.
Yeah, not only investors, but buyers that are moving in to move into a house. You know, they've got money behind them, and they've got either buying the house cash or they got the loan that they. We live in a debt income society, so if they take out a loan, you're using debt to buy a house, and then you use your money for other things.
Well, rates going up. You look at rates going up. You look at we have prices of homes high. Perfect storm. We talk about all the time. Going above 5. Everybody thinks, well, Dan, you know what? That's not insane, right? That's not bad. Rates going up. It's a lot of people think it's bad. I'm saying it's not great, but it's not pushing people out of the market. The 5.5 rate, 6% rate, people still feel like they got to get theirs. They got to get in the market. I'm not saying it's a good time to buy. A lot of people don't think it's a good time to buy. I get mixed reviews all over. Some people email me and say, you know what, Dan? Man, I don't know. People got to sell. I don't think this is a good market though. I know, realtors got to sell. People got. So with rates going up, applications declining. This has to be somewhat of a good thing overall for slowing the economy down,
right?
Maybe holding off inflation, but it's not slowing down. It seems like Las Vegas, we still have high record of number of people out there looking to buy homes, high demand, right? We have a lot of things happening here in Las Vegas that people still don't miss a beat on. They've had stuff out there where you're looking at inflation where you look at back with COVID, and when COVID happened, we had people that were spending money on necessities, supplies, education for people at home, a lot of things like that. Yeah, so stuff like that. And just really doing it, putting money there. And now you're looking at them putting money in other areas, like for whatever reason, travel. Maybe because people were staying home, I'm not sure, but travel is up quite a bit. The average things that people would go out and buy at stores, right? They're not buying the non-necessity things. Right. So you're seeing a market slow down. Yet the housing market is still on fire, and we have a low supply, high demand here still, even though we see price reduction. We're going to see this chart here in a second. Right. So, you're seeing it. People still, you're out there doing home inspections. People want to buy homes. How many home inspections are you doing in a day?
Yeah, well, I do 2 to 3. Yeah, I'm still doing 2 to 3 a day. And, the interesting thing is this town has changed. We've been here for about 25 years, and this town has changed from when we first got here. And you're I think we mentioned it in the last show, but your high end living was actually Spanish Trails. Now you've got multiple high end living areas all over the valley, and I think people with income, or not income, but people with money don't feel the effects of the slowdowns or the interest rate hikes or whatever. I think the big thing is right now, I think what really that is taxing us is the fuel and the food. You know what I mean?
That's it. That's a big part of it.
And if they can bring that stuff down, I don't think the interest rates really matter that much on housing.
Well, they don't matter as much now. I think they will matter as we go, and we see things. If we do head for a recession, people are going to get laid off.
Right.
People are not going to have jobs. Right now, we have high jobs. We have the lowest unemployment we've had in a long period of time. We also have 40-year high on inflation. So if those things start to come in where home appreciation is going to still be there, I think that's where the confidence people have, and they still are working. So they know, if I had to, I can sell and cash out, or I can do a cash out refi or do whatever I need. Plus my job is still stable and it's still there. So people are like, you know what, man, I'm not too worried about it.
This town has grown to the point where there's more. It was always casinos or construction. When we first got here, and it's turned into so much more now. And then people working from home and telecommuting and all that other stuff, and they're living
100%.
working and all that stuff here. So I think this town is really. I think we're in a really unique city in this country. I think it's
very unique. I think that we're not going to see the same changes that people see or cities in other countries, metropolitan areas see, because we have Las Vegas is desirable. We have sports teams still moving here, and the economy here is thriving. So I don't see that part of it dropping off, but I do feel that going into 2023, could we actually see a recession overall in our country? There's a strong possibility that we will. I mean, that's the definition of it is 6 months decline in GDP, gross domestic product. So we're starting to see declines now. We saw declines as far as last month goes. Now it's interesting to see what's going to happen moving forward, right?
Yeah, and I think it's the a little bit of the fear mongering by the media. They like the S&P came out this week. I noticed that it said S&P's down. Now we're going into a recession. And it's same.
That's crazy, right?
I know,
it's
right?
Like, man, recession.
Yeah, they want to build all that up, and they want to get people. It's fear mongering. It's the same thing happened in 2008. When they kept saying, "Oh, we're going into a crash," and everything every time you turn around, and then people that are maybe not as in touch with what's going on in in the financial markets or whatever, they're gonna go do their job, and then they come home and then they listen to the news, and all I hear is recession. It's like
Well, it's a trigger point for a lot of people. When you look at it is. I mean, it's
a scare tactic.
It's a scare tactic. I think it's something to be cautious of too. I agree.
Yeah.
We're not economists. We don't follow it that way, but we do collect a lot of data, and I kind of gauge it off of markets. So when you look at Las Vegas, I don't know. It's like the outlier for a lot of things that people do or see with as far as recession. So what they're saying is 2023, the second part of it, we're going to really start to see, we're going to go into a recession, possibly up to 2 years, where we're going to start to regress. Now, they're going to keep raising the Fed's fund rate, keep slowing the economy down, hopefully bringing inflation down. So they're doing it where it's not 0 to 100. We looked at back in 1981, I think they raised the Fed's fund rate really aggressively.
Yeah.
And what happened was it really halted everything. And, it almost pushed us into food bank lines, I mean,
exactly.
It really did.
Yeah.
So they're trying to slowly bring that process down. So, I don't think we'll ever get to that point. I think there's some levers and things, but it is eye-popping to me that even this last reading we saw with the Fed's fund rate going up, we still saw a reading that inflation creeped up just a little bit more. Yeah. So this could be a big problem for people, man.
Well, and then they keep talking about raising the interest rates, and like you spoke of it in 1981 when Reagan came into office, and he said it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Right.
And so what he had to do was he had to raise the interest rates, with Paul Volcker or whatever. And, and they had to they put. I mean, I remember. The housing interest rates were up around 17, 18, 19%, and hopefully it doesn't get to that point again, but, with the CPI on the,
going crazy.
Parabolic, it's like,
So what do you do? So let's talk a little bit about your day in the market here in Las Vegas. So we always take a look at it from a perspective of on-job experience, right? This channel is about, educating the buyer out there through on-job experience, giving them the details that we go through. Some people don't always get that information. So you're a home inspector. You go out and you inspect properties.
Yeah.
And one of the things I always look at is when you see people out there and the psychological thought process that they have. Do you ever feel that people are a little bit pushed into this market, or they're really buying just because they're comfortable with their position in life?
That's interesting. I come across, I mean, there is a spectrum wider than you can imagine of people buying homes. And, when I first started out, some of my advertising was, it's your the biggest investment you'll ever make, kind of thing. And it's like,
That
why
is,
not? Yeah. And it is for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think the middle class position, right?
Yeah.
That's the highest or the biggest investment a middle class person. And when we talk about middle class, we're not, that criteria.
That's changing.
It's changing, man. So, making $1 million today is not what it used to be.
No,
and so it's changing quite a bit.
Yeah. That's I still wouldn't call that middle class.
No.
but it's still it's
getting close though,
well,
right?
Yeah. I mean, when you got first time home buyers having to spend $400,000-$500,000 on a house, I mean that's crazy. Especially when our first home was $98,000. It's like at a 12% interest rate in 1996, I think is what it was.
28% of first-time home buyers is all the market has to offer right now. 28%. And most people,
wow.
A lot of buyers out there have just retracted, pulled out. It's too expensive. They can't afford the house. You got higher rates. Now, look, it hasn't pushed a lot of the out-of-state buyers because why? They're cash rich in their homes.
Yeah.
They're buying homes here. And a lot of these people that are coming here buying homes, they don't worry about the worries they have are it's not really about, hey, can I make the payment? It's more about what does the water shortage look like, right?
Right.
Where am I buying? What's the weather like?
Right.
Is it becoming more like California where it's really in a very dense area? You have a lot of congestion, a lot of traffic. I mean, those are the questions that I get. What side of town do you live on? Where's the crime rates at? That's a lot of the stuff that that is usually, but there's never a concern like, hey, I'm not going to be able to make the payment. Or it's never maybe it's just not the right time to buy. It's not that, hey, I can't afford it, these out-of-state buyers.
Yeah.
But I think when you look at Las Vegas, people that are living here, yes, they have equity, but they also have jobs here.
Yeah.
And we have the job wage has not increased as much as the inflation has here.
No.
I feel like it needs to keep going.
Yeah.
And they're in a position where they're saying, I can't afford homes anymore, right? I mean, that's what you're seeing.
Yeah. The job market, I think there's always been a job market here as far as there's been work available. I know when I was a kid in high school, or even getting out of high school, I was beating the street trying to find a job back in the late 70s, early 80s, and it was a tough time. And we're kind of going through the same thing now. But what I see is my kids, when they were going to college, they always, anytime they wanted to get a different job, they'd go get a different job. They go get a job. Maybe it wasn't the highest paying job or whatever, but at least it was money. It was income. It was money coming in.
Well, Vegas is like it always presents opportunity.
Right.
You look at markets, and it's like the stock market here, man, with the housing market,
It
because
kinda is,
it
yeah.
really is. You could be on your highest high, and this thing's just screaming higher. Price is going crazy,
Right.
And all of a sudden, boom,
Yeah.
and it just stops.
Yeah.
But what's weird about it is you go back to 2006 and 2007, and we talk about this recession. We talk about things that's happening right now.
Right.
2006 and 2007 had what? It had where people had a high number of unemployment, which led to bankruptcies, foreclosures, loss of home. We don't have that right now.
Well, no, we don't. And they were buying on the speculation that I got a view of something here in Las Vegas, and my $200,000 house or $300,000 house at that time was going to go to $1 million. And they had stated income loans,
right?
Which actually really killed the market, because all you had to do was go in there and say, "Oh yeah, I make $150,000 a year," and then they say, "Okay, yep, you got a loan."
Yeah.
And so as the market went up, there's got the stated income, and they were able to buy whatever home they wanted, So but they were buying it on speculation. So I think now what they're doing is they're buying it more. I see from my perspective, and I'm not a financial guy or anything like that, but what I see is I see people coming in and actually covering themselves with either the cash to buy the house or have the cash behind them and get the loan.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like a very large down and then maybe just a small loan, and I think that's kind of what I've been seeing as well.
Or vice versa.
Oh, so low down and high amount of loan. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because they've got other areas. Because I mean, a lot of times what what I learned out of the last crash was if your house is a liability.
So a lot of people think but a lot of people think it's an investment. You don't think it's an investment?
It's an investment, but not necessarily like an asset to where you're producing income.
Right.
So because you gotta fix the water heater, you gotta fix the air conditioning, but that's a place where you live,
right?
And you want to make it as nice as you can. So I mean, I think people have money that they're putting, and people with a lot of money or big money have different areas that they're putting their money into versus, maybe it's an apartment building or something.
Oh yeah.
They're
So are you doing so everybody always talks right now. I mean, dude, the weather in Las Vegas right now is amazing.
It's awesome.
It was a little hot the other day, about a week ago, but yesterday 83 degrees, wind was blowing.
It's too cold.
Yeah, it's too cold. But I mean, yes, the weather's down sometimes, like in the summertime, but man, you could have some of the most beautiful days, and when the wind blows it all through, just clears. It's kind of like
last night.
Yeah, like last night, man. I was just relaxing, having a good time, man, and just enjoying Las Vegas.
Sit out on the patio, smoke a cigar.
Yeah. What kind of cigar do you smoke, man?
I like the Cohibas.
Yeah, you like the Cohibas?
Yeah.
Is that the big?
No, it's just a little one. It's really good. They got the mild and the light ones and stuff. And
are you a Scotch guy, or what do you do? Are you drinking wine?
I like Scotch, but I like Makers.
Maker's Mark.
My drink is Makers.
Nice.
Yeah, so I like to sip on a Makers.
Yeah, no, I'm a wine dude. I mean, I love my red wines. Like I'll drink every other night or something, maybe a glass here, but just hanging out, just relaxing and watching something on TV. But Las Vegas market, right, is amazing as far as opportunity.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the right time for people to buy. We understand that. I mean, look, everybody can't buy in this market. I do feel that rates could potentially go up, and it could keep slowing the economy. Going back to this recession talk, do you think the recession would happen? And if it does happen, is it really going to affect Las Vegas? Because Las Vegas is a tourist town. I mean, we have 40 million people on average, something around those numbers now after COVID, that come here and visit Las Vegas. Yeah, right. And would it even affect us?
You know what was interesting during the last crash, where everybody was losing their homes? I had an engineering company that we were working on the Strip. We had the Switch Beach Club we were working on. Go out there every day, and it was wintertime. We had rains. We had we worked through the whole rain period, then it cleared up and all that other stuff. And the interesting thing is there was never a day where I didn't see the sidewalks crowded on the Strip.
Yes, and
it was right in the heart of the downturn, like not 2009, 10, whatever.
Yeah. It's still people were coming, huh?
Yeah, people were coming, and I think people will always.
It'll slow possibly. It's not going to have the amount of people, but I think that's what I'm saying. Is our economy seems like it can't withstand everything, but I mean we do have a lot to offer, and there's a lot of ways and diversity that we can maybe recover or maybe not hit a full recession like others, which you see a huge declines, and you're starting to see these declines in other states. Like we said, there's certain things that people are out there buying at stores that they didn't buy before, and it's only necessity stuff. Now it's not non-necessity things, and they're focused on, okay, what can I get through with versus do I need this or do I want this? Because if I need it, I'm going to buy it.
Right.
I'm not going to buy something I just want because you know what? We don't know what's going to happen. The unknown, the uncertainty of this economy is really what's
a whole crystal ball factor.
It's a whole crystal ball factor.
Yeah.
So I do feel that rates are going to continue to climb a little bit. And you know what? I can't say that that's going to be, hey, keep buying. Because you know what? I mean, I don't know. I mean, if rates keep going up, I don't know if I would buy in this market because 6%, 6.5%, that's a mind shift. And you got to grasp that,
Especially when you see the rest of the country, I think the real estate is different in different parts of the country than it is here. And so when you see all this, it's like you're seeing the fire, and you're kind of you're outside of that that whole spectrum, I guess, or whatever.
Right.
But I do think Vegas, with what I've seen as far as people coming in here and buying, I have seen them.
So let's talk about this.
Safe.
I want to say this. So you look at this housing market, and I'm going to take you through some challenges I see with rates, with housing, with things that I'm dealing with people. The housing market itself, and let's say new home builders, new home builders have a lot more standing inventory or fallout. And if somebody's out there and they're looking and saying, hey, you know what? Can I actually get into a standing inventory new home? Now, they always had this, but it was a very small percentage. But you're seeing it more and more where people are backing out. Why? Because interest rates. Yeah. And also to prices. Now, you could be, if you were one of the first in that community, you can also build a lot of equity. So it might not make sense.
Yeah.
But I do have builders and people talking to me like, hey, you know what? I got into this house over here. Century Communities, they had a person fall out. Over here, this. So there is opportunity for these new homes where you're not waiting 6 to 12 months. You're not waiting on the material stuff. Some of these builders are still giving out refrigerators and things like that. Maybe not the washer and dryer, but you're getting the refrigerator. So,
which is kind of a big thing because of the supply chain thing.
Absolutely. It's a big thing. And so you're starting to see that. You're also starting to see that you look at the existing homes in a sector of the 400 to 500 to 600,000 range.
Right.
You're still getting list and sometimes above list. It's a very hot market.
Yeah.
But when you're getting into that 800,000, 900,000 price point, you're starting to see that dip.
Yeah.
And you're actually getting it below list. So if your house falls in that category, and then it's weird. It's like there's this little graph part, and then it jumps. And anything over $1 million, then it's back to list, sometimes over. Yeah. And it's just weird how there's like that little dip right there.
There's a line there, and I was just talking to a realtor friend of mine, and he said for the first time in quite a long time, he had he priced his listing out at he did the comps on it, everything, and he priced it out according to comps, and the appraisal came back $20,000 less. It was $515,000. I think it came back $499, I think, or $495, I think is what he said.
So you're in agreement with me that if we go into a recession, it doesn't mean we're not going to be affected, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting because I want to see if we will be affected the same way as other cities, other states. Because that's the thing.
That's the key. I think that's the key thing is, and I think that's what we got to watch. I think the other, because that CoreLogic report that you were reading, I think it said that Arizona was in a lot of trouble.
Arizona's in trouble. I think there's a place up, I think it was Maine. I'm not sure. It's like up towards, but that's it. And then everywhere else is saying we're not going to increase, 15, 20% across the country.
Right. Maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah. Like 2 or 3, or maybe like 5 to 6.
Yeah.
But here in Vegas, that might be the outlier too, where we may increase 10%, right? Because Vegas is still a hot market.
Yeah.
It still wants, people are demanding.
Well, did you hear anything about the Oakland A's at the MGM and the Oakland A thing?
Yeah,
I think that's where they want, the MGM is where they want to put their stadium.
No. I think it's actually over towards the Tropicana. So
Tropicana. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the Tropicana. So they met at the Tropicana, right? And
right.
It's just in talks. There's actually in other locations, but Vegas just seems like there's a lot of push. It's the entertainment capital of the world, in my opinion. So there's a lot of things to look at and like about Las Vegas, and I'm going to continue to say that this market's going to continue to be desirable.
Yeah,
moving forward, just because people want to have a cost of living that's cheaper. There's no state tax. There's a lot of benefits and perks being here in Las Vegas.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about appraisals. I want to jump to this now. So you're doing home inspections,
right?
And you have an appraisal. Okay, the appraisal comes in, and we've seen it come in low.
Right.
Now this is completely different because a lot of people are like, well, the house looked like it was in good shape. Everything was there. But you come in before the appraisal happens, usually
90% of the time.
And you could prevent potentially a hazard or something happening. So can you explain the difference, like when you go through why somebody would want to get a home inspection? Because look, you go out there, you get a home inspection on a house, and I'll be honest, man. Some people think like, oh, well, you're charging too much money, or this or that. So, and it's fine because it's not just one. There's a lot of people.
Right.
That have to understand what is the scope of work. So I wanted to bring you on today and just kind of talk to you a little bit about why do you charge a little bit more per house?
Yeah, that's well, okay. So I guess with the first question, is why do you have a home inspection? And I can go back to a couple weeks ago where I did a place that was built in 1936 out in Boulder City. Well, it was all renovated and everything, and I looked at the house. The roof was new, and it had the old. You know how the old houses were kind of like they could be converted to a living area because they had wood floor planks in them and stuff like that.
Yeah, so, I want to bring something up. I'm going to bring up this story. Okay. So I'm out there and I'm looking at buying a house, right? And I'm sitting here thinking, well, you know what? Maybe I'm going to buy a house and I'm going to buy it over in this area. And I went out there and I was thinking I was just making, killing it on a flip, right? I was like, oh, I'm going to go flip. And you're like, let me go take a look at this thing, right? Yeah. You go through and you're like, wait a second. You're like, foundation's off. There's a problem here. There's, you can't really do anything with this wall because this structure. And it's like, if you're somebody out there that's a flipper or somebody out there that's looking like, hey, what can I really do with the house? That's also part of what an inspector can do is prevent a problem before it becomes a bigger problem,
right? And I've done some, and I've done a few. So I mean, I kind of see where the potential. You gotta when you're looking at a house, especially when you're looking at a house, it's like, can I, as an investor, to flip it? You're looking at the house as like, okay, what can I do to improve it and make it marketable?
Right.
That's the key to like a wide audience, like a wide.
So if you have like a house, and let's say the house has nothing upgraded, right? And let's say you go in and there's an appraiser looking at it, going, they appraisers go off of what's sold. Yeah, they really do.
They do you really give
square
footage too?
And square footage
and what's
right?
Sold. Yeah.
Do you ever go off of and say, hey, you know what? Like you look at the countertops, if they're cracking or there's a certain thing that needs to be taken out. Do you recommend things like that when you go through these inspections to bring more value to the house?
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm looking for is functionality and safety. That's my
bread and butter.
That's my bread and butter right there. And it's like this house out in Boulder City. They put an electrical panel. They redid the house, and they put an electrical panel in the bathroom. Well, that's a big
no-no.
No, you don't do that.
Yeah, you're going to take, you're going to do the number 2 and you're going to be looking over an electrical panel. It's like, what is that?
Right. And aside from that, you've got it's a moisture area, right?
Yeah.
So the more moisture you put into it, the more possibility potentially have a rust.
But there's not like suggestions. Like suggestively telling somebody like,
no, I can't put my opinion into things.
Well, not really an opinion, but saying like, hey, you know what? This may be a problem down the road. You can do what you want, but if you don't fix this, and I think it's not just, okay, these things are safety and it's also like resellable options, right? Yeah. How do you resell? Because people need to buy homes in this real estate market too, of what I'm buying it for. Also, can I resell it? Like when you buy a condo, maybe a little harder to resell, not in this market, but in most markets, right? Because they're maybe less desirable. Right now, condo market is crushing it.
Oh yeah.
The townhome market is crushing every market. So,
because it's funny because when I do my schedule, I have a platform that actually pulls up the house on Zillow. And I know Zillow's not a good indicator of what the house is really worth.
Oh yeah, I go to Zillow on everything. It's just like, you know what, Zillow, it's like the Oracle, man. You got to you talk to Zillow. Zillow, what's the market going to do in 3 months? And then it's got its estimate pops out.
That's all AI, right? But So what happens is that the platform actually pulls up the house on Zillow, and so I can see the square footage, I can see the year it was built, and I can see the price that it was listed for or whatever. And I'm seeing that like condos are like in the 280s, 290s, 300, just like
crazy returns too. Like you list it 1 bedroom, 220, 230, 1 bedroom. Condo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Nothing desirable about it. Just very plain Jane, right? Just boom.
1 bedroom, 1 bath, 270.
People are
I did one this week. 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 270.
270.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, location, but
where was this at?
Oh God. It was in a good area. I can't remember exactly where it was at.
Yeah.
It was on the west side.
On the west side?
Yeah.
West side? Yeah,
West
everybody
side, yeah.
loves the west side right now. That's the
right.
poppin' hot pot. That's hot right now. You got, every
Southwest corridor.
Yeah,
whole
every builder's over there right now.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of room to build still.
Absolutely. I was just over at, it was Pulte Homes the other day. Pulte.
Yeah.
I say
yeah,
Pulte.
Pulte. Yeah.
Pulte Homes. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on here. So,
Okay.
all right, I want to bring up, go ahead. What were
So
you
the
saying?
inspection, you were asking about the inspections, okay?
Yeah.
And so why have an inspection? Well, this house that I did out in Boulder City, it ended up being, the realtor took a little bit more due diligence on this house and had a contractor come out before her due diligence was up to find out what the actual cost of repairs were going to be.
Yeah.
On one panel, it was going to be about $3,500. On the other panel that I looked at, it was, it was mislabeled. There was some things going on, and I'm not an electrician. I don't go out there to tell you that you have a, bad floating bus bar. I don't.
Yeah, but here's my thing is, I don't think people are looking for like that cosmetic. Like, it's more like, hey man, if I do this, if I take this out, take this wall down, increase it or extend it here, would that actually bring value? And I know you can't really do that.
No.
But what you can do is say, if you did do that,
it's not structurally sound.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The foundation is not there.
Yeah, the foundation's not there, and if there's a shear wall there, especially like in attics, you look in the attics and they build shear walls in the attics. Nobody ever goes in the attics, so then at that point, you know that you're not going to be wanting to take that wall down.
Psychologically, right? People, when they're buying homes, do they ever feel worried that this is maybe like, is this something I want to back out of? Or like, because look, I think people, today's world, they're thinking all different things, right?
Oh,
they're
yeah.
thinking like, there's 10 things going on in their head. Is it the right time to buy? Do I buy at the dip? Am I right? The rate's going to keep going up. Now that I'm in a contract, should I move forward with the contract? Should I back out? Hopefully the inspection goes well. Dude, buying a house is one of the most stressful processes, especially moving from state to state.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's where you see it at the first, the forefront. You see a lot of people that are really like not struggling, but they're just, man, you could tell like they're just their mind and their motor is just going 90 to nothing, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, 0 to 1,000. I've had people. In fact, I'm doing one for a person next week that she backed out of a house because there was to me it would have been a minor issue, but to her, she's coming from out of state. She's putting her dad into this property and mom and dad into this property, and she didn't want any problems with it. She wanted it to be kind of like stress-free, maintenance-free, kind of property. And I can understand exactly where she's coming from. She didn't want any problems. But even the smallest of problems sometimes can be the bigger problem for a buyer. They can they don't know exactly how to assess it. So part of my job is to say, okay, here's what you do. This is the best way to go forward with this. But get a general contractor in here because there could be other things going on that I can't see. Our inspections are inspections of a readily accessible and visible area. We can't go in and do like indeterminate destruction, to see if there's something going on, that kind of thing. So there's people, things that go through people's heads are quite unique in where they're at and what they want to buy.
Yeah, I think that's the psychological mindset people have right now. Just it's not always in every market, but especially in this market now with Las Vegas. And so going into your home inspection reports and the scope of work. Okay,
Right.
So you look at there's this square footage versus this square footage, and it's just like appraisers. Appraisers do the same thing. Everybody always says, Dan, why do appraisers charge more money when you're going $1 million, $1.5 million? And they say, well, it's a scope of work. They got to cover more square footage, more more room. Maybe there's more things to view and more things to do. It's the same in the inspection world, right?
Yeah, it really is. And if you want to do the inspection right, so you take like a 1,500 square foot home versus a 5,000 square foot home. Well, your 5,000 square foot home is maybe going to have 3 or 4 air conditioning units. Your 1,500 square foot home is going to have 1 air conditioning unit, 1 heater, 1 air conditioning unit.
Right.
So just because it's a larger square footage doesn't necessarily mean that, it's going to take more to do it. It's got more components to the house. Maybe it's got 2 kitchens. Maybe it's got versus 1, or it's got 5 bathrooms instead of 2 bathrooms,
Right.
that kind of thing. So that's kind of what I'm looking at with square footage. And it just takes, it takes longer, and you got to look at, what the cost of looking at each individual item is, I guess.
Looking at new homes.
Yeah.
New homes have no backyards, and they're really condensing the backyard. We talked about this.
Right.
Would you ever buy a 3-story home?
No, I wouldn't.
Why?
Because
I think they look crazy. I mean, look, they got that rooftop deck. I mean, I was just at a builder. They have a rooftop deck. They have a lot of things to offer. The middle floor is usually the one. They got 3 different AC units.
There's a certain type of buyer that's going to buy a 3-story home.
Yeah, what is that though? I mean, are these people like younger crowd, convenient? Because look, I had a lady come in and she was just like, dude, I love the Victoria. I love it. And then you got the Ella and you got the Victoria. And it's like, well, what's the difference? Well, one of them, was a 2-story. The one was a 3-story, but it just had all everything,
Right.
everything that you could think of. And then it had the rooftop. I mean, that rooftop on these homes, these 3 homes, that's hot.
Oh yeah, for a 3-story home, yeah.
Hot.
Well, and the other thing is if you go into a, like I say, a 3-story home, maybe some of those are multi-generational families going into them. So you have,
That's a good point there,
Yeah,
Doug. That's
yeah.
a very good point.
you have mom and dad on the bottom.
Yeah.
You have the kitchen in the middle, and then you have the other living areas on top or something.
Well, it's secluded. Just like a lot of these
exactly.
next gen homes that you see.
Yeah, and
you don't
have
out at
to
Lennar
have,
and
you don't have to have
Yeah.
a casita on the home.
Right.
It's all kind of contained. So I think there's, and me, I don't have the need for a 3-story home. I don't, and
But don't you think they're going to become a little bit more desirable in the next few years? Like
I think so.
Because they do save a lot of space. You're not going to get a backyard.
No,
in
you're
these
not
new
going to get
homes.
any yard. And a lot of times, people, it's the live and work at the same place home. It's not like you're raising chickens and you're wanting to throw pool parties and stuff like that, because you got all the amenities here that you can
look for.
Yeah.
So when you go and you say you do a home inspection on say that versus say a home inspection, because people don't know you do a home inspection, you want to do a home inspection on a new home, foundation issues. I've had people call in and say, hey, there's builder didn't, the foundation we've leveled, checked it out. That didn't work out. Some of the way that they put things together as far as the cabinets, things like that, they weren't really as sturdy as they should be. And, you looking for things like that, right? You're looking for stuff like that.
So I'm looking at the structural, electrical, mechanical, and plumbing. That's my whole
Your whole deal.
my whole deal.
All wrapped up in one.
Yeah.
Like a burrito.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm getting hungry now, man.
I know, right? we get the food analogies going on. We'll get something to eat.
Yeah.
But, so like say for instance, you look at a roof. I had a guy drone a roof, and the buyer wasn't happy with droning the roof. They asked me if I walked the roof, and I've always walked the roof. The 20 years I've been doing this.
Why is that a worry? Because I had people say, you walked on the roof and then you almost broke something on the roof itself. Maybe nothing, one of the tiles or something. You know what I mean?
A long time ago, people were worried about that. I've had sellers saying, "You're not getting on my roof." I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll look at it from the eaves or whatever. I haven't had anybody say that in a long time though.
Yeah.
Ever since I started, the last 20 years, I've always walked the roofs. I had a friend of mine. He was actually a quality control manager for a roofing company. He showed me how to walk the roofs. I've actually, with the consulting company that I had, we actually tested tiles for the roofs. Tiles are actually pretty strong. They can take about right around 1,200 load pounds when you put them in a compression machine. They can
so they break. Why do they break then? I mean, that's the thing.
So the reason why tiles break, the main reason why tiles break is because they have microfracture cracking, or you get somebody up there that's not walking on it like it's eggshells, or don't know where to step when they walk on it, because you're always, the way roofs are built, they're built with the at a slant, and they're connected by battens. So the battens are on the sheathing, and the head of the bottom tile and the foot of the top tile are both on the battens. And you step on that area, you're never going to break a tile.
You're never going to break it. So it's a misconception, and people think that you're going to break tiles, and they got on the roof. Somebody just brought up, I want to bring this up. They said Chipotle, man. It's like, what's your favorite place to eat out here in Vegas? Because that's what everybody talks about. Is
I like Lazy Dogs.
What is that?
Lazy Dogs. That's over there at Town Square.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's kind of one of my.
Dude, Town Square is one of my spots.
Yeah, that's my favorite burger joint. Anyway, bar, grill, whatever.
It's good to bring the family, right, to places like Town Square. You don't feel pressured.
No, it's good. Yeah, we.
Dude, I was gonna say that my favorite is curry, right? Or not curry, but Indian food.
Yeah.
But when that curry hits you.
Oh yeah,
you're running.
Yeah, that's.
And you just want to stay out of that restroom for a good 4 or 5 minutes minimum.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, because it just runs right through you. I don't know if you deal with that same problem. I go eat some curry, man. It's just like right through, right out.
I was in Singapore, Thailand and Singapore and all those areas, and they're big on their curry, and it takes a day or two to get used to it. Then once you get used to it, it was okay.
Dude, I'm gonna say that Indian food, when I first got introduced to Indian food out here, because listen, Vegas has everything.
Oh yeah,
like there's nothing you can't think of that for the food part of it, that you can't experience here in Vegas.
Oh no,
and I think that's the big part of it. Is like,
it's probably the highest density 5-star rated restaurants in the world.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. So like when you move here. Mm-hmm. People always say, well, what other perks over there in Vegas? Well, geez, we don't have a lake anymore, but you do have food. Be aware of the lake. Yeah. You never know what you're going to find. But anyways, but you got the food. The food part of it is really, really good. And there's, for me, this is the first place I've eaten sushi. Yeah. But I went to a real high-end place to eat sushi. Man, I was hooked.
Oh, yeah.
The very first time I ate sushi, I was like, what is this?
Well, I'd never had sushi. My wife and daughter were, they love their sushi, right? And so I'd never eat it. I'm like, I ain't eat no raw fish, whatever.
Why though? I mean, was it just like
just a mental thing, And I'd be in the fish markets like in Okinawa or whatever, and I'd be in the fish markets, and all you smell is that fish, and it's sitting there on the tables. I'm like, I ain't eating that.
Nah.
And so, but they got me to go to I Love Sushi years ago.
And, yes, I love. That's over on Eastern, right?
Yeah, it's on Eastern. Yeah. And I'm like,
dude, you had the blossom. What is it? The blossom is what they call it. I think it's like this. Well,
they got like 3 pages of sushi rolls, whatever. I'm like, okay, well, this isn't so bad, this is pretty good. And I really like it. Yeah. And
well, that's one of the perks.
Just a far cry from the fish markets in overseas,
Yeah, it's one of the perks. So listen, let's talk about this, and we'll have to move to this other section. So this other topic. So when somebody gets a home inspection, what's the best advice to give them before they get into that position? Because you're going to need one. You don't have to have one.
No, you don't.
But it's suggestively giving you that opportunity.
Well, I think a lot, and bringing up the fact that you don't have to have one. I think most real estate agents, they'll have you sign a waiver saying that I didn't want a home inspection.
Right.
There's a lot of savvy people out there that look at a home and say, whatever's wrong with it, I can fix it because I can see the bones of it are good. Then there's other people that want to know every aspect of the home. And what I do with the inspections is I put a lot of pictures on the inspection itself. And so basically what I try to do is I try to tell a story of the house from the functional, safety, mechanical aspect of it. So I'm looking at living rooms or dining rooms or bedrooms or hallways or roofs or attics or whatever. I'm taking the entire pictures of what I'm looking at, and then I'll note the problems out. So I think for most people, probably 80% of people, I've done inspections for contractors, for engineers, for, investors that have bought hundreds of homes, whatever. But there's always something new. And then that's the way I look at the home inspection business as well. There's always something new. Like, I could sit here and talk to you about finances because I'm talking to realtors all the time. And some of these guys are really, like they're very financially minded. So I get a lot of, I guess, learning through talking to people and whatnot. Right. So you can be whatever, from whatever aspect you're coming from. I think a home inspection is always a good part of your due diligence.
That's right.
Whether it's me or whether it's somebody else, it doesn't matter. But just to get some kind of because I guess the thing is the buyer is not going to go through the house like we would go through the house.
Absolutely.
They're gonna maybe run a faucet and say, okay, yeah, we're good to go.
I mean, the last thing you want is to buy a house and it turns into a lemon. It's a pig with lipstick, right? Somebody's coming. Pit. Yeah, it's a money pit. You come in there and there's people throwing some money into it, and you think, man, they really made this outside look good, but foundation issues, plumbing issues, electrical problems, and you may not know that from the average person out there buying a home, especially since how many times do the average person actually buy a home in their lifetime? Maybe one or two times. I'm just saying the average.
Outside of this area.
Yeah, outside. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, because people in this area, like us, for example, we bought like 8 homes.
Wow. 8 homes.
Yeah, 8 different homes.
That's crazy, man. 8 different homes.
Yeah. So then we rented two different homes.
So let's do this. So if you guys out there and you guys need a home inspector, call Doug. Doug knows what he's doing. He's a great guy. I want to head over into something else. And Doug, thank you for coming on and talking a little bit about what's happening in the market. Yeah. Also, Doug has a lot of knowledge just on Las Vegas. How long have you been in Las Vegas, Doug?
25 years.
25. I mean, you're a Las Vegan, man. What is that break off? Is that like if you're here for 5 years, you can you get your badge and you could be a Las Vegan? Is that what it is?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you put your Las Vegas badge on.
Right. Yeah. You get a hat. You know what I mean? You get all you don't get the keys though. You don't get the keys to the city.
I think that comes at maybe 100 years or something. I don't know.
So let's head over. So guys, I want to talk a little bit about what's happening in the real estate market. So if you guys can see this right now, we can see that new listings. If you look at a year-over-year basis, we've declined from the month of April in 2021. We're down 4.6% on new listings. Pending sales were down. You could see the numbers here. You can see closed sales were down, right? You're seeing all these numbers down. The median sales price, though, $475,000. We're up $100,000 from last year. And that's amazing to me on the average price of a home. The average sale price has gone up 23%. We talk about, look, what are prices doing? We got the data right here, right? Housing affordability. I say this on almost every show. I do other podcasts. Housing affordability is down. People have to really figure out, is this the right time to buy? Do I need to do I need to get somebody else if I'm getting a loan? Do I need a gift fund? You talk about secondary home buyers, right? Everybody's like, well, who wants to buy a secondary home or an investment property in this market? There's people out there that still need to do that or want to do that. The problem with that is you're seeing changes on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
And so now it costs, maybe the down payment requirement is 10, now it's 20%. So you're seeing these changes.
We chased that market when we were young. When my wife and I were first married, up in the Portland area, it was on a monthly basis. It was going up 5%, 5% down on properties that kept going up. So, I mean, chase that market. It's hard to get into.
I love it, man. So, month supply, we continue to see this is saying a 1 month supply. Not real much of a change, but you could see all of these negative marks here on a year over year basis. Now, let's go into, that's the single family home sector. Let's go into the townhome condo sector. Okay. Year over year, new listings, that's up, right? So you look at the fact that there is more listings on the market. Now, we're seeing a small uptick, but in what price point are we seeing that? I would say a lot of that is the 7 to 900,000 range, I would say, because you look at the competition levels, the average price of a home, or the median price, we just saw it, is $475. That's where a lot of these people are trying to buy at. And so you're seeing at list, above list, no contingency sales. If you have a contingency sale, builders get, good luck. You maybe figure that part of it out. But if you're trying to buy a home and you have a contingent sale on anything, you're going to have a good chance that you're not going to be able to get that house because you're waiting on somebody else. Days on the market, 12 days. We're down 61% until sale. That's a big deal. Closed sales, we're down 24%. I mean, but you look at this townhome and this condo sector, and it's thriving as well. And there was a point where a lot of people didn't want to buy townhomes or not just townhomes, but mostly condos, because condos, when you look at the loan side of it and trying to get approved for a loan, it's very challenging. Yeah. Very challenging. You have to go through a spectrum, a myriad of things to try to get approved for a condo. And also too, they had the highest default ratio. Yep. They had the most, investors going into that market buying cash. So that's why they're hit the hardest, but yet that's still on fire. You look at this stuff. Housing affordability index is down 25%. This is it, guys. This is the data. Month supply is less than a month. 0.8. Are
condos a little bit easier to get loans on now than they were before?
They are. Yeah. They are for sure. And that's why you see these numbers rise. Okay. But again, you look at the resale, and a lot of it comes down to that HOA questionnaire, right? That's filled out. Yeah. Is there, any litigation, right? They always look at that. Yeah. High ground litigation. There's always been an issue there. Renters versus buyers. How many does one owner own more than 1 or 10% of what's in that facility? So there's a lot of regulation things. So I deal with a lot of investors that come in and buy these condos, and that's the first thing they say is, should I buy cash or should I get a loan? I say, throw the cash. Mm-hmm. The cash is going to get you by everything. If you want to try to pull that money out, great. Not only does cash right now, and look, we understand, we all don't work with investors. It's not like I have a big portfolio of investors and we're all just flipping homes. It's just every once in a while, you're going to have even a primary person say, hey, I have money to buy cash. Mm. It's not only investors. And if they have that ability, a lot of times they would, in this market, to beat out, because it's a competition. Right. You look at these townhomes and these condos.
Yeah. There's this whole place is competition.
It's just on fire. And it's, us as consumers, and even I put myself in that category, we're all in the same position. Oh, yeah. We're all competing against each other and driving those prices up, which is crazy. That's the astonishing part.
What's really interesting right now is you talked about supply, and it's like I get a call and they say, hey, we really got a short due diligence. I've had to pass up a couple inspections here this last week just because they had a 5-day due diligence. And if the realtor doesn't call in to get the inspection scheduled right away, then we're looking at 3 days and I'm already booked out, and it's like, but it used to be 15-day due diligence. Then it went back down. It then went down to 10, and then last summer everything was a 7-day due diligence.
7-day due diligence?
Yeah, I was like,
it's crazy, man.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's crazy.
What can you do in 7 days?
The thing is that what you have to do as a real estate agent is you got to cut corners. And what I mean is, it sounds bad, but the average, so to get an offer accepted, the seller wants convenient, easy, less hassle, least amount of hassle. Okay, what does that mean? My close of escrow date might be pushed up. The appraisal might be pushed up. The due diligence to back out of a house might be pushed up. Instead of it being 10 days, it's maybe 7 days. Yeah. And you look at the 25 days, right, for a loan contingency or close of escrow date. Instead of it being 30 days, right, maybe they're going to do it for 24 days. And what that does is it says, well, how solid are your buyers? Oh, well, they're going to put down so much money. And guess what? In a seller's market, they're going to get those offers accepted. Right. Now, we're shifting. Okay, we're shifting. I feel that in the next year, it will turn into a buyer's market. We can see it's right in front of us. We can see it changing before our eyes. Right. And so when you look at this market, and you look at these builders, and you look at all these things that's happening in this market with resale, and how I feel like we've peaked in a lot of these price points, you're going to start to see it shift. But to go back to what you're saying, in a market where it's very competitive and you got a buyer that's scrambling, they need to move, sometimes you have to do things that you don't usually do. It's out of protocol.
Right.
It's out of,
No, Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do to keep the seller happy with the buyer that's coming in.
Let's go over here and we'll take a look at this. So April and year to date. So I want to look at this really quick. You got your single family residence in April, right? And then you got your single family residence year to date. So you go back and you look at the change, right? So look at May of 2021, and we're all the way a year out, and we're down 4.6%, as you can see. And what this is the new listings. So we're seeing that, new listings still, you could look at this average. We were about 3,500 back in May, and we really haven't creeped over really 4,500 at any time. And I feel that, everybody out there has a different number of what they think a healthy market is. I would just like us to get to a 3-month supply of homes here. What is that number? Maybe 10,000 homes on the market. I'm not sure. Maybe that's a little excessive, but right now we're probably, 1 month you can see is 3,500 homes, right? Roughly average, or 4,000. That means we probably need to be about 10 to 12,000 homes on the market for it to be a really nice balanced market. Because I feel that that's what we're looking for. We're looking to have a balance in this market, and hopefully rates going up, they're going to continue to go up. This shifts that market back to where there's a healthier market. Right now, it's still unhealthy. I feel like I think
back in the 2004 era, I think we were sitting about 13 to 15,000 homes on the MLS for listings. On a month.
But that might be a little excessive, right? I mean, that might be that's too much. It's got to be enough supply with just the right of demand. Right now, there's too much supply, or low supply with too much demand.
Right.
So you're seeing that it's such an off balance, and this is what I'm looking at. So pending sales, right, in this month here in April, and then year to date. Here's April's numbers, and then here's year to date. So it's just amazing to me that you look at a year over year change, and we're down 6.8% year over year. Yet you are seeing look at what we had in April. Right, in 2020, 2021, and now look at 2022. Wow. 2020 seems like pending sales was really low. Look at it today. It's over 3,000. I mean, we have an average of 3,000 homes on the market, but as they come on the market, people are just coming in and buying them right off, right when they hit the market. It's like, oh, something hit. And if it's sitting on the market too long, it's usually overpriced.
Right.
Or there's something wrong. Maybe they have tenants in there, or something's going on with that house. But that's the markets we're seeing. We have, and by the way, we've had a couple of people that want a list of homes that have been staying on the market for a very long period of time. You may be able to get a deal on those homes. I can give you that list. We also have pocket listings, if you guys want that, where we have some things that are coming on the market, coming soon. Oh, yeah. We can give you those lists, So, guys, if you're looking for a real estate agent out there, I could be your guy. Dan French here. Give me a call, right? Let's keep going here. I want to talk about closed sales. So you got closed sales, May, 3,200 homes. And look at April. I mean, look at this. It's been right around 3,000. I mean, we dipped in January, February, and that was like really dire position here. People need to see this part of it. So right here, look at this. You have homes right here, 3,200. I want to go back up real quick, because I think maybe this is the pending sales right here. So I want people to see that part of it. So you got April and then year to date, and you could see those changes that we see. And this is why we're saying, like, look, there is not a lot of inventory. There is maybe at certain price points, and maybe you have your options. Maybe you don't have to go over list. It's not as a frenzy as going over, 15, 20 offers like we had. I mean, that was a crazy number. But I did see, and I made an offer on a turnkey home, very desirable home, that was still had 11 offers on it. And this was not too long ago. So 11 offers. I mean, it was priced out well. There's also another home I had that was at six offers, right? Okay. So you're still seeing the multiple offers, but it just depends on the home, right? So let's go down and we'll see this other part of it. Closed sales. You can see this. This is what we were talking about. So in 2020, pandemic year, 1978 in April, that's the month of April. Year to date, you got to look at this, man. I mean, this is crazy amounts that we're already at. 2020, we had over 1,000 closed sales, right? And, that's for 2021. And that I just think that you're up 131% year over year on this stuff. This is single family townhome. And just looking at these numbers, like, what does this come out to you, Doug? Like, what do you see of this with these closed sales? Is this eye popping to you, or is it just you kind of figured this is exactly where it was at?
Well, just with the way my graphs and my charts layout, it's actually following pretty much what
you see.
What you see, yeah, because it's like I have revenue per month, and I have inspections per week, and it breaks everything down for me on the platform, and it's pretty much the same thing. I mean, it's kind of bizarre how this is.
How it just follows.
Yeah.
So then you look at new homes, and a lot of people say, well, new homes are, they're a lot more average price for a new home. We talk about the equity you can build in a new home, especially if you're not living in it. Well, look at the equity that we see here, which is showing 35% year over year change. Single family residence, 475,000 back in April, this month in April. If you go back last year at this same time, you were looking at like 375. It doesn't show the chart, but we just saw that. And this is big numbers, because if you bought your home, and the question I always get is, Dan, should I buy now or should I wait? And you know what? That's a personal decision. If you need to buy a home and your family's looking for a house, definitely go all in. Maybe buy. I understand rates are higher, prices of homes are higher, but at the same time, are we going to see a drop? Now, unless there's a huge recession that happens here in Las Vegas, people are laid off, things start to change, you're going to continue to see a small uptick in home appreciation. We have $100,000. If you bought a home last year at $375, this is just saying, the equity in most people's homes appreciated, where you have equity-rich people now, $100,000 equity in property. And it's showing it right here in the data. It says it's showing it right here.
Well, and the other thing is too, is you can always wait for, you can't really time the market. You got to be in the market. And,
yes.
And you got to, and I think our market, is going to, it may correct a little bit, but at least you're in the market.
100%.
That you can't be kind of wishy-washy. Wait, because 10 years from now you can say, well, shoot, I wish I would have gotten the market 10 years ago.
This is the average sales price. Let's look at this really quick here. I want to show you guys, and then we're going to end the show here. But you got this. Look, your average sale price is $586,000 single family residence. And you could just see this graph. It just continues to climb. And, my thing is that I can't see the need for homes and the short supply with the amount of demand of people that need these homes.
All right.
I can't say that we're going to see a drop off. It could slow down. We could start to level off. There's just no signs that says the housing sector is going to start to drop or decline, even though in certain pockets we see price reductions. But maybe they were overpriced in the beginning as it is. Maybe they were never supposed, maybe the market and what they're trying to buy around it was just, because as you know, appraisers are going to go off of what's sold.
Right.
Loans are only going to be given on the value of the home.
Right. And
so what do? You can't just say, well, I want to still get $30,000. You could. But then you're going to get that list of these are unrealistic sellers.
Right.
And you're going to see houses sitting on the market. And if you guys want that list, I'll give it to you, because we have tons of people that are going to start, waiting around 30, 60, 75 days that think that their house is going to sell. They may have tenants in there, but for the most part, I think it's just overlisted. And I think this is a byproduct of what happened with this market.
Yeah, I agree.
You got anything else to say, Doug?
Oh, no, I guess we, if you have any questions for me, or, you'd just like to call and ask about maybe an inspection that you had, or if you're interested in what we can do for you, feel free to give me a call.
Guys, you know what this is. This is Dan French. This is the French Workbench podcast here on a Saturday. We'll be back here on Tuesday. I want to say thank you guys so much for being part of the show. And, one of the things I want to say is, if you guys are out there looking for a real estate agent, I could be your guy. Please give me a call. I will work hard for you, roll up my sleeves. Again, like the channel, subscribe to the channel. This is the most real behind-the-scenes information regarding financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs happening here in Las Vegas. I'm your go-to real estate agent here. I'll talk to you soon. You got their attention, I leave an impression and take a redemption. Just kill no discretion. Your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression. You could try to play, but you're never gonna be me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free. It sound white boy, sheep, move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when it's evening. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try to change, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong